What is shaking, Internet? This is Salts bringing you the How to Tank for Dummies Horridon LFR guide. Horridon is the second boss in the first quarter of the Throne of Thunder raid, which in LFR is called the Last Stand of the Zandalari. First up, trash. Holy crap, there's a ton of trash between the first boss and Horridon. Some of it is interesting, but most of it's just plain annoying. First up, throughout the entire area, there are floating trolls with blue rings under them. Simply put, don't ever stand in the rings. These guys will patrol the area and should just be avoided since they can't be killed. Watch for the snakes in the bushes on the beginning platform and near the end on the final little platform. The long bridges have wind jump going on, which makes everything harder to manage. Obviously, don't fall off the edge. The wind is pretty easy to manage in LFR. It gets a lot stronger in normal, just so you know. As you make your way down the bridges, ads on the sides will come down and attack you. They're not too special, but they will apply a healing debuff on you, making heals less effective. In LFR, this is only 2% per stack, so pulling 2 isn't a big deal. In normal, it's 5 or maybe even 10% per stack, making it important to only pull 1 at a time. There are places along the bridge where you can stop and kill these ads without dealing with the wind, so I'd recommend hanging out there and avoiding the blue rings, which should be manageable. Midway through the area, you'll fight a mini-boss golem. He's pretty straightforward. Just avoid the lasers he shoots if he's aiming at you, and stand in the center to avoid the blue rings that are going around in circles. At the end, you'll fight another mini-boss troll, which is similar to the one you fought before the first boss. Just avoid standing in giant lightning zones, focused on people, and you'll be fine. Finally, you'll get to Horridon, or the Direhorn boss. To put it simply, there's a ton of stuff I could cover for Horridon's fight, since there's so many ads and so many things going on. But this guide is for dummies, so I'm going to focus on just the basic core ideas for tanks. First and foremost, Horridon will be active throughout the entire fight, and has 3 real moves. First up is Double Swipe. This does a big cone of damage in front of and behind Horridon. For tanks though, this really doesn't do too much damage and really shouldn't be an issue. Still though, try to face Horridon with his sides to the raid so they won't get hit by his horns or tail. Charge is Horridon's second move. He'll randomly fixate on some player in the raid and after a few seconds will barrel at them, doing a double swipe immediately afterwards. There's nothing you can do about this, so hope that whoever Horridon's charging will move away from the raid. Last up is Triple Puncture. This move does a decent chunk of damage, but more importantly stacks a debuff that will increase the damage subsequent triple punctures do. This means you'll constantly be getting more and more damage from triple puncture as the stacks get higher and higher. Be aware of this. I'll discuss when to do a tank swap to clear these stacks in a little bit. The next important aspect of the fight is the 4 doors at the corner of Horridon's arena. Each door will open one at a time, allowing ads to spawn at the doors. This is where explaining the fight at each door can get very confusing, so I'm going to explain the core ideas. The first door to open will always be the Faraki, or Sand Trolls, just to the left of where you enter the arena. I believe it's the northwest corner. The main tank should go and pull Horridon over to this door, but face Horridon's side to the door to avoid double swipes on the raid. The off-tank will hang out by the door until the ads spawn. Once they start spawning, the off-tank should go around rounding up all the ads and trying to keep them in one spot. Ads will continuously spawn at all the doors, so the off-tank will need to continue grabbing all the ads until they stop appearing, which will be a little bit later. So for the first door, the most important thing to note is the sand traps some of the ads will spawn. Just don't stand in these and you'll be fine for this entire phase. The basilisks that come out of the door have an interruptible stun, but you can mostly ignore this in LFR since there's so many people. Just round up the ads and don't stand in sand pools. Now, how do you end this phase of ads? After about a minute of ads spawning, a big ad called the Dinomancer will appear. This guy will try to heal Horridon, which should be interrupted as much as possible. Once he reaches 50% health, he'll turn into a dinosaur and drop a little orb on the ground. It's very important that someone, anyone, click on this orb. Clicking on the orb will cause Horridon to crash into the gate and end the ads from spawning. This is what's going to end that current phase. So let's recap what we've learned so far. We'll recap again later, but we need to recap what we've learned so far. The main tank will be on Horridon, facing his side to the raid. The off-tank will be out gathering up all the adds, and as soon as the Dinomancer appears, we'll be DPSing and interrupting him until he reaches 50% health. Once he does, someone in your raid needs to click the orb he drops, which will end the phase. Once Horridon smashes the gate, he'll be stunned for a few seconds, which will allow you to swap tanks. This is definitely the time you want to swap tanks. Triple puncture stacks will probably be anywhere between 8 and 10 at this point on the main tank, meaning he'll be taking a beating every time that goes off. When Horridon smashes the gate, the off tank should taunt the boss and make sure to get threat. The main tank should start trying to get aggro from the remaining adds if possible to help out the off tank with damage. As soon as Horridon is back up, he'll do a double swipe and then should be continuing to assault his off tank, or now the new main tank. This process will repeat every door. Every time you do through the door, it'll repeat the exact same thing. He smashes a gate, a tank swap should happen, meaning at least 4 times during the fight a tank should be swapped. This will allow triple puncture stacks to reset. Now for a bit more detail on the doors. As I said before, the first door is the Faraki or Sand Troll door. You should avoid sand traps and you'll be fine. Second up is the Gurubashi or Poison Trolls. Biggest thing to watch out for here is the poison pools on the ground. Try your best not to stand in or near them, as they'll move around slowly and poison everyone they touch. The third door is the Drakari or Ice Trolls. These ones require you to be a bit more mobile and run away from the frozen orbs that are following people around. Try your best to run in a circle around the orbs and stay as far from the orbs as you can here. The fourth and last door are the Amani or War/Thunder Trolls. The biggest point here is to face the bears away from the raid. As they do a swipe or cleave attack. Also, stay away from any lightning totems that are created, as they do a good chunk of damage, and I believe they can stun you. Not 100% sure on that. Once you've broken the last door, the fourth door, you're still not through. After a few seconds, War God Jalak will jump down and become the last add. The off tank should pick him up, and the whole raid should burn him down quickly, as he does a raid-wide damage aura thingy that will overwhelm the healers after a few seconds, or several seconds. As soon as he's dead, Horridon will enrage as well. So that's a lot of junk we just covered, so let's do a long recap first. Okay, main tank's going to start on Horridon, off tank will be on adds. Main tank should face Horridon's side to the raid. Everyone should avoid standing in pools. Kill Dinomancer when he spawns, click orb, then do a tank swap. Phase 2, everyone continues to avoid pools, and tanks continue rounding up adds and facing Horridon's side of the raid. Phase 3, everyone avoids frozen orbs, and tanks will continue herding the adds around. Phase 4, tanks will grab the adds and face the bears away from the group. Final phase, everyone will burn down the War God and then kill the boss. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually pretty repetitive. You'll basically tank the boss, then grab all the adds, then tank the boss, then grab all the adds, etc. Rinse, repeat. Don't be afraid to click the orb of control that the Dinomancer drops. As soon as anyone clicks on it, a message will appear on the screen saying, "Insert name here takes control of Horridon," or something like that. Once that appears, you can focus on killing off the rest of the adds as quickly as possible and getting ready for the tank swap. Do note that Horridon will continuously take more damage as the fight goes on, since he gets a bonus damage buff every time he crashes a door. He'll be taking 3 times the amount of damage at the end of the fight as he would at the beginning, so don't worry about trying to kill him at all until the Warlord shows up, or War God, whatever his name is. And even when the War God shows up, he should be burned down before Horridon. Cooldowns should be used anytime you're getting high on stacks of triple puncture. Anytime you're getting around 10 stacks, you'll be getting wrecked by those, so keep up some cooldowns. Active mitigation skills like Savage Defense or Shield of the Righteous should be used constantly, either on the boss who hits very hard, or when you get a very large amount of adds beating on you. Big cooldowns will likely be needed for the end when Horridon enrages after the War God goes down, and his triple puncture stacks start really hurting. Remember that your stacks need 2 minutes to clear, but as soon as they're gone, you can swap again during that last phase, when he's enraged. Let's see. Normal mode brings some bonus challenge, since the adds abilities are going to be more important. Horridon is quite a step up from Jinrock, and keeping all the ads aggroed and interrupted will put a strain on your raid, especially in 10-man. Aside from more damage, you will have to have better positioning, and your raid will have to be more understanding of the mechanics like charge and some of the interruptible abilities. Otherwise, Horridon hits like a train carrying cement bricks, just so you know. I hope you've enjoyed this guide for dummies. Please like, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz, and, as always, you keep it salty, Internet.